I wanted to switch gears a little bit and talk about plugins. So for a lot of creative systems, having a plugin API is like incredibly important, and y'all definitely have one. So like, I was just curious, like what the shape of plugins are, what it allows you, or as a developer using Sanity to do,
Yeah.
and any like difficulties or I don't know the story of like getting there to building that API. It seems like building a plugin API is like kind of a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it is kind of a hard thing to do. Yeah, no, the way we tried to design Sanity was, you could almost call it like a microkernel application. We tried to say like everything is a plugin. Like that was the kind of the design kind of principle. We tried to create an application framework that like when you render it, just Sanity is just a white canvas. There's nothing there except the infrastructure, and even like the main toolbar that everyone is using is kind of provided with the same API as the plugin API, because it's just all plugins all the way down. So that was the thinking. Like if we get that API right, then like there's no, like the goal was like there's no separate plugin API, right? Like this just the API of Sanity. So the way that works is that there's a number of different resources, like a tool, a structure, which is like a navigational structure. There's a schema. There are like content types. There are different resources, and basically and the whole Sanity is defined like that. And then the plugin is just a like providing a number of those resources. You just like let's say you have a custom input. Let's say like you design a map input. So this map input has a data type that it needs, and it has a React component, and and then basically the plugin of that is just defining that content type, providing that as to the schema system, and then attaching that to that editing component that you made in React. And then whenever anyone kind of now says type geopoint or whatever you call that type, that will just call upon your entire kind of the stack you invented. And let's say you want to have a central management tool to see all of the geopoints. I don't know, like I'm just inventing this as we talk. Now you need like a canvas kind of full view. This is called a tool. So you just provide a tool. A tool is just a React component that you then provide, and you call it a tool, give it a name, and it will just appear. And when anyone clicks that, they will load your component. And that's just another resource that you provide in your plugin. And if you want those to appear together, you bundle them as one plugin, and it's just a list of those resources. So it's super simple, super dumb in a way, but that's one thing we hit kind of in all humility. I feel we hit the head pretty like dead on and immediately by not having like we're not thinking about this as a plugin API at all, just the API.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like if you've leaned into a plugin API, by the time you're like, okay, user plugins, it's like, oh well, we've defined every part that this thing could want to integrate into our system already.
Yes, exactly. It's like there's no concept of having a hook for plugins. That's not a thing. Like if let's say we need a way to place a button in the main toolbar. Like if we need to do that, there will be an API for that. Because I'm exaggerating a little bit. I'm not sure that's possible, frankly, because that's a single resource we're providing. So like that might not have might not be possible. But the point is like we are not adding hooks. We just decide how to carve up the resource system, and that's what we provide, and that's what anyone can provide. And we do the same thing with our backend, frankly. Like we don't have private APIs. We probably have some, but like in general, all of the like every API that's involved in like presence, in real-time collaboration, how mutations are on the wire, you might not care about that, but this is all documented. Like you can do that yourself, and we are working on tooling and SDKs that makes it even easier. But these are all like if you need to build some of this in Java or interact with that from somewhere else, is all like all of the APIs are first-class citizen documented things, because that's how we are thinking. Like we are thinking that if we need it, you need it, and we're building a platform, and everything is kind of built by parts that are loosely coupled. And most people will not care. Like they will want the big picture tools, and that's kind of fine. But the point for us is like back in our agency days, like we want to have most things should be super easy. Reasonable things should be easy, and then everything should be possible. Like there should be no, because like every customer has this one request, and it's a kind of super annoying to be able to say like, no, that's actually not possible because this is a hosted system, or yeah. And our approach, our dream was to be able to have a system that is both like we take care of everything. Like at least back in the day when I was like, I didn't love to have to kind of manage databases and run kind of servers, and like I'm even back in the day we had actual physical servers that like we had to drive to when the SCSI controller was down. Like I hated all of that, so I wanted this product to have that go away. While you still have all the control you would have in something like WordPress, where you have all the code, like you can do all the stuff that matters, you can do all of that, but all of the like getting the content out to edge nodes and that just disappears, and that was kind of the design goal. People talk about local first, I'll be like, yeah, that's a bait and switch thing. You don't want that.
Yeah, the main takeaway I have from Sanity is just the flexibility. It sounds like it's at so many different levels from back end to front end. Like even with plugins, it's so nice that like you guys handle the content management part and then just hand it off to me in the end to do the rendering. So like I wanted to add code examples to my documentation. That was super easy. I just popped in a plugin. I could edit it there. And then when it's on my side, I had full control on how text highlighting worked and how it was displayed within my content. So that flexibility is so cool.
Yeah, that's super nice. And now that's where we started, right? Like that's where we came from. The first, like when I don't know, the stories in the companies like with various here, but like to me, that was like where we came from. This kind of freedom of this, like this design. It was about design to me. Like I want to be able to, like all the time, I have these ideas that I want to do, and then I can't hand the control to a customer or to the right people, so I can't do them. Like I have to do something that is more automatic or something like that. And I had a great conversation. It's tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow it's not now. You have to cut that out because it's not tomorrow now. It's tomorrow at the time of recording. But there will be on our YouTube channel. You can find a webinar with the people who created the website for Lady Gaga. And that was super fun to me because that's a beautiful, like animated, colorful, playful website. And I feel like too few of those currently. Like this is like super. It's like a small things like they have. I don't know how they did it. They have like these kind of bump maps, I think, for all of the products. So like when you change the color scheme to match a certain record, all of the products are lit with that kind of color scheme. I don't know how they did it, but it's kind of unreasonable attention to detail. But that is kind of, that's what I was initially excited about, that kind of opportunity to do these amazing things and create amazing experiences. And then like I mentioned, like one of our first customers was Burger King, and they were about this operational thing. They were about like powering their, like having a content team be able to define a menu and then have that kind of trickle out to like delivery apps and ordering kiosks and even like behind the counter kind of screens for burger kind of cooks. And we were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. We didn't think of that. At least I didn't think of that. And now, of course, that's like, I guess our business is like half and half, these two kind of content operations or remarkable experiences. That's kind of how I think about it. And hopefully sometimes it's both.
Yeah, that's super awesome. And just like a really impressive business. I mean, that you can cater to all of these is incredible.